evening, everybody. How we doing? How we doing? So, just to preface, I did not trade today. Okay. This is just gonna be me doing a recap of what happened today. The two potential setups that were ideal setups. Obviously, hindsight is 2020. So, this is just gonna be. If you took this great job, you got a great move. Okay. So you could frame either side today, and if we just remove everything, right? Go to a 1 hour chart, put these side by side, then we'd probably see. I think there was before market open, so maybe like 9:15. Okay, just right off the bat, you see there's an SMT with previous day's high, which is right here. I'll actually turn this off. So right here and right here. So previous day's high has been taken on ES, not on Q. So you could be leaning shorts, okay? But what's helping you frame longs, right? If you just look at a volume profile, right, for the session, it looks like we're sustaining the value area, um, the POC, sorry. So we're sustaining the POC, right? This is actually showing us that first candle, but we can back it up like that. So yeah, we're sustaining the POC. Actually, I'm gonna make sure this gets extended so it updates as we go on. And you would also notice, right? We're pretty close, like in pre-market, we're pretty close to this pre-stage high. We're like, if we measure this, right, 18 points away. So if you're looking for shorts here, you're relying on an 18-point SMT holding, which, don't get me wrong, I've seen SMTs that are like very few points of a difference or even ticks of a difference hold and give you a move in the direction of that the SMT is telling you. But looking at a volume profile, we're sustaining POC. If we remove this for now, we're writing the upper VWAP band, right, from the overnight. We're also disrespecting bearish gaps. We're respecting bullish, so we respected bullish right here. There hasn't been much gaps retraced into here, but there is a 1 hour gap. I think it was like up here actually. So up here, it's getting respected. There's also a 15-minute somewhere in here. There's one in here. And there's also this 1 hour intermediate low. So you have a few draws that you could work with. Maybe you want to remove this and just pay attention to the ITL. So this is a 1 hour ITL. And yeah, it's kind of what we're dealing with here. So what you want to see off open, in case you're looking for longs, you want to see manipulation lower and then head higher. And if you want to look for shorts, it's a bit trickier. You do have a drawn liquidity up here. You also have like a 5-minute high in sight. All this resistance area, very hard to see, but I'll show. I marked it because that's a good target for longs later on if you want to target past previous day's high. It's not hard to find targets inside a resistance area. So, a few things to consider is longs look good. You'd be long into a resistance area, but it does look good. Okay, so coming into open, which is mark it out right here. So I think there's market open. So we do trade lower. Okay. and then I think we get a trade like right in the 50 minute per rally gap. So we hit that intermediate low, retest that VWAP, trade lower, tap into that 15 minute. So this is where your ideal entry was. You could have entered off of the 3 minute rejection inside that 15 minute. Your stop loss here. Um, Ideally, you would have seen something on Bookmap that told you this is your time to go long, because obviously you couldn't quite enter off the 5 minute closure. If you did, that's an 80-point stop. If you put your stop down here, that's almost a 70-point stop. So not ideal. Still a good RR, but pretty massive stop loss. You don't want to really have those type of trades. But this right here with the 3 minute rejection, we're respecting VWAP, clearly respecting it, respecting the 15 minute gap, resweep of the initial low in the 1 hour ATL. So here looks good. We're also retesting this consolidation area, so you could see London being a consolidation area that we broke out of, sustained above, and then we're retesting it. So there's a bunch of different ways that you could frame this. It just depends on what your strategy looks like. I'm just trying my best to be like, as objective as possible in terms of this. But right now, it looks like we also retested the value area low. And yeah, I think this just ran to TP almost immediately. Maybe here we trailed to maybe this 5 minute base. You wait a little bit more. Okay, looks good. Maybe you want to be a bit more aggressive with your stop trailing. That's one option. Then you see that candle, you're trailing here. I think you get TP right after. Yeah. So a lot of opportunity to trail in the 5 minute, 3 minute. It's just all green. So yeah, this would have been a solid trade. 169 points and a tick. So yeah, almost 170 points, 4.8 RR. So once we've hit these draws, you're like, okay, maybe now we look for shorts. If you're waiting for shorts, maybe this is what you were looking for. If you look at the time, it's also 10 a.m. open, so 10 a.m. open higher. Maybe that's one of your confluences you'd like to see time alignment. So now we know the SMT didn't hold. ES also looked good during this time. So yeah, maybe for shorts, you're like, okay, I want to see London lows get hit, so we could maybe drag that out to like over here, and then maybe even Asia lows. Obviously, this is very biased because I know what happened. So I know these targets get hit, but I'm just trying to make it as objective as possible. So how would you short this, right? You're in a market that looks like we displaced through the value area high. You're like, okay, you know what? I want to see price retrace to the value area. Rebalance to there, maybe rebalance to some prior value gaps. So maybe you want to see something clear, right? Maybe you want to use your VWAP bands. You want to use VWAP as a confluence. So we've swept high time for liquidity. Now we know our value area has shifted at this point. So our port of control is higher. I don't know why it's shifting up and down, but our port of control has shifted higher for this. So now you're waiting, seeing a consolidation. Here is where you get your entry, in my opinion. And the way you would trade this, or at least the way I would have traded it, which is very similar to the way I would trade gold. I haven't quite looked at these type of trades on NQ as much. On NQ, I'm very picky with my confluences. I don't know if you've seen how I like to have a lot of confluences in alignment. Like I want to follow a trend. I want to trade off of a low volume node, a key level. So here, your key level is the resistance area that we've seen rejection from here once, another time. So we've also swept this liquidity, swept this high, which is, I would have probably not marked this out, honestly. I'm just doing it because I know some people do it like this. So it's just trying to be as like objective as possible, trying to make everyone feel included in these type of recaps. But yeah, like I know TJR probably marked this out as a draw on liquidity. Um, I haven't seen what he posted today, but anyways. So here you get a break of the upper VWAP band. We retest it and we wick it. So you're like, okay, I want to try this. Maybe you try it with lighter size. So you enter off the candle open of the next candle on the 5 minute, and you get a 30-point stop. So maybe you try it with lighter size. Maybe you do 1 micro and then scale in, or just 1 micro to try it out and see what happens. Then you get this candle. Maybe you add into this and then try your stops or something. But I'm pretty sure this trade just played out incredibly. Another thing that I will point out though, excuse me, is here we actually broke the 15-minute IB, and I believe we actually broke the 30-minute IB, the 1 hour sorry, 45-minute IB. We broke it, the high, and the 1 hour IB, we broke the high as well. So that actually tells us to look for longs. So this, you would look for the retrace to get in longs. Maybe VWAP is your first try. Maybe you try it along there. That's also, I think that's valid. We're bullish. If you didn't see the resistance zone, which is all these for I guess all this displacement, all this sell-off that we got from the tariff news. I mean that's fair, but yeah, I think it's kind of hard to long here because we've already met targets. So your only targets would be IB extensions. But if you are shorting this, you are also counting on price doing a double break. And that is a Wednesday. Wednesdays are more likely to do a double break than the rest of the days on the week. But yeah, I'm pretty sure if you target it like all the way down here, it's an insane RR. You're going for a 300-point move and you still get it. So maybe you take partials at the IB low, which you get right there. And then, or maybe you want to take a partial at London low. Maybe you're trailing. You're getting a lot of aggressive candles, so I think you at this point you probably should already be break even. We're retesting that VWAP, holding it. I think we retested one more time in the next candle. And we wick it, and then continue displacing more. And our targets are met. So, yeah, kind of bummed out that price played out like this today, and I missed it. But I will say I did have my best trading day yesterday, and I kind of felt I noticed a lot of emotions come out. So like in that trade, I noticed my greed come out, and I'm like, wow, okay, that's not good. And then I'm like, I might actually come in this day with an ego, and I might get cooked because of it. So I'm like, I'm probably gonna wait it out, see if I get a setup on Thursday instead, or Friday. I'm okay with that because you want to be in the right mindset. I don't think I would have been. And I was also just very tired. I stayed up late recording the recap, and I also gamed with some friends of mine, so that was pretty nice. But yeah, both sides of today played out pretty well. If you caught the longs, there was a 200-point move that you could have caught, and then if you caught the shorts, damn near 450-point move that you could have caught. Some of that, just if you caught your piece of the pie, congratulations, you did a great job. But yeah, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you could have used today. I think another thing with the longs is here. This is a low volume node, so if you mark it out from like here, or maybe you want to be more precise, you want to mark it out down here. That's also valid. But there is a low volume node here. So if you mark it out like this, something like this, probably support. So we know this is a low volume node. It's the break and retest of this zone right here. So That's another thing that could have helped you play it for long. Um, I think this was what the entry was. So yeah, and then your target previous day's high. So yeah, we fill that low volume node to the tick and then rally. That was another confluence that I forgot to mention for the low volume node for the long setup. But yeah, that's pretty much what I saw for today. Coming into tomorrow, once again, kind of balanced conditions in a way. Got that out of the way, and yeah, just gonna have to be very cautious because we are in balanced conditions. Gonna have to be very aware of what price does. Marking out our draws. So previous day is low and previous day is high. There we go. So we got our draws marked out, and still same scenario. We're bouncing in between the resistance zone and the support zone. That's all I gotta say. You can mark this out as a draw on liquidity, this down here. ES, I believe, is telling us the same story, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Could see all-time highs get hit this week. Heard a couple of people say that. Makes sense in my head. Why they see that. So, just gonna be aware of. Gotta be aware of what price is telling us in the moment. Yeah, coming into tomorrow, we're bouncing between both of these. So, just gotta see what is getting respected, what is getting disrespected, what's the VWAP telling us, what's the volume profile telling us. Keep your confluences in alignment. Make sure you have a clear context to frame your trade, and you'll be fine. Volatility is back for sure. This week has been very, very volatile. Like even on a bank holiday, the range of that day was a 400 point range. Then the range of the day after that was like 600 point range, I believe. Something like that. Yeah, 600 point range. And then this day, from the high to the low, we're getting big moves. We're getting, excuse me, we're getting big moves. Volatility is definitely back. That's for sure. And we like that. We like volatility because that means our trades, if they play out well, they play out very quickly. So we'll, gotta love that. So yeah, pretty cool what we're getting in terms of price action. So yeah, right now, price is not telling me much. Low key looks bullish. Made a higher high. Looks like this is just a higher low. The 4 hour looks like we're failing to respect bearish gaps. Still have this one that's holding us, but yeah. So far, kind of balanced conditions. Just I could see price bouncing between here for a while, and I could also see price just continue to displace higher and make new all-time highs. That's also a possibility. We're not that far from all-time highs. If you look at this day's high to new all-time highs, that's 200 points. And our days are giving us 400 point ranges. So if we just get a 400 point move to the upside, it's more than enough to make new all-time highs. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. But we'll see what price does. Gotta stay patient. Get your context right. Align your confluences. Get good price location. Demand good price location. Just get good confirmation. Good entry confirmation. CLC. Context, location, confirmation. Get it right. You'll be fine. But yeah. Heck of a trading week so far. let's end it on a good note. Let's pass that freaking Pandit account. Let's go. Alright, y'all. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.